Right. Nice. Alright, baby, we back. What's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell, Psych Sensei, and welcome to Reading with Ryan. And today we're reading about the taxonomy of toxic behaviors. So if you're, I'm excited to jump into this, looking at why people are toxic or the different classifications of toxicity, and starting a whole discussion around it. But as always, if you got questions about esports, gaming, all of it, psychology, type in the chat. This stream is for you, and if you want to take me on a ride and ask me questions that will help you climb in whatever you want to do, that's what this is about. But if you want to learn more about me and what I do, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. There you can find resources or links to my TikTok, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my YouTube, my Discord, you name it. I probably got it. You can find that on my website, psychsensei.com. And also, I really hope this mic sounds buttery. I was fixing my audio settings, so hopefully it sounds better. But only time will tell after I record this. So, let's just jump into it. Yeah, I'm a little rusty. Haven't been streaming for a little bit, but I thought it would be very important that I jump back into it. And actually, I want to fix this. Actually, I guess that's just how it's going to be for now. All right. Please be charged. Please be charged. Oh, no. We're going to send this to this. What? Bang. There it is. Okay, we back. All right, so this article is entitled... Where's my pointer? This article is entitled Taxonomy of Toxic Behaviors in Multiplayer Gaming Environments, an extension of the context of pure aggression. This comes from I'm going to do my best, Celia and Dimitrovics. Nailed it. And this is coming out of Budapest, Hungary, or collaboration of Austria, too. What's up? I believe this is also pretty new, so 2025. Let's go. And also, what's your experience with aggression online, bullying, people not being fun in general? What is your hypothesis of what makes people toxic? Let's talk. Let's have some fun. Whoa, this thing does quizzes for you? The fuck? Bro. Not sponsored by Notability, but bro, I'm gonna use that later. Alright, the proliferation of cyber aggression with the extension of online social spheres. Hostile communication and interactions in the online sphere has been extensively studied over the past 2 decades. Peer aggression, that's a definition, in digital environments has traditionally been investigated under the umbrella term of cyberbullying, defined as, here's your definition, any behavior performed through digital... Oh, sorry. Let me just highlight it first, and then I'll read it. Alright. Defined as any behavior performed through electronic or digital media by individuals or groups that repeatedly communicates hostile or aggressive messages intended to inflict harm or discomfort on others. Alright. Here's a hot take on it. Cyberbullying is only cyberbullying if you let it be cyberbullying. Because I think, yes, the intended message is intended to inflict harm or discomfort discomfort in others. However, if the person does not inflict harm or discomfort on you, is it cyberbullying or are they just being stupid? So another thing of that is really interesting about cyberbullying and all this kind of things too. It's a perceptual issue challenge. Like, if you perceive that person as being hostile or aggressive, because, I mean, they probably are, but if you just, like, don't let it affect you, then it's not really cyberbullying. Hot take. Alright. The prevalent antecedents, underlying motivations, and consequences of cyberbullying have been widely researched since the 2000s, particularly in social media, has become a dominant platform for online interpersonal communication, broadening the spectrum of both opportunities and potential risks. Both of potential opportunities for cyberbullies? Yay. I never really thought of it as that, like, oh yeah, there's an opportunity to cyberbully. You know what I mean? The emergence of novel online social spheres has broadened the scope of aggressive behaviors to novel forms, such as happy slapping, i.e., video recording of assaults and sharing these recordings publicly online. I feel like that's not cyber. I feel like that's just straight up bullying, no? And assault. And cyber sabotage, crimes committed through advanced knowledge of technologies such as stealing data. I don't think that's bullying. I feel like that's actual crimes. But maybe the definition of what bullying and assault and crimes are changing over time. Just like, for example, the word prank means a lot of different things. The word prank could mean like, oh, ha, ha, tee hee, like, good prank. You know when people are at the beach and they're taking a shower and they just keep putting like soap on their head and they just keep getting soapy, even though they try to wash it off and they can't figure it out and it just keeps getting soapy. See, that's a good prank. But running up to somebody and punching them in the face and saying, oh, it's a prank, that's assault, bro. Like, I think the definitions of these things have like really changed and morphed over time. Because when I'm reading this, bro, these are assaults, not bullying. Alright. These behaviors may not align with traditional definitions of cyberbullying, which often emphasizes criteria such as power, imbalance, or repetition. Consequently, Grigg proposed a broader definition encompassing a wider range of negative behaviors in various online contexts, collectively termed cyber aggression. Ooh, okay. Fair. According to Grigg's suggestion, cyber aggression encompasses a broad range of behaviors delivered through electronic devices to individuals who perceive these acts as harmful or undesired. Yep. Makes sense to me. These behaviors include cyberbullying, harassment, stalking, and other violent acts. Damn. E.g., happy slapping. That may not fit conventional definitions of cyberbullying. For example, an incident of happy slapping may not be repeated. Why is it happy slapping? I don't know of any slap that was happy. Even like power slap. I don't think those slaps are happy. You know, or if you just run up and slap someone in the face, I don't feel like that's happy. Okay. Grigg also underlined the evolving nature of these behaviors, predicting that trends in internet and mobile phone would inevitably lead to the proliferation of negative online communication practices. More recently, the growing concern over distributive behaviors in online multiplayer game environments have gained considerable research attention. These acts, often referred to as toxic behaviors, can be viewed as forms of cyber aggression specific to a context of online multiplayer video games. We would like to draw attention to the problem of toxic behaviors in the gaming community by providing a brief overview of the core features, manifestations, and ongoing debates surrounding this phenomenon, without the intention to provide an exhaustive review of empirical research findings. So they're just gonna like, oh, I have to like scoot this up. So they're just trying to define and objectively like describe the behaviors, nothing else. Okay. Well, you're not gonna see some of this. That's fine. Contextualizing toxic behaviors in the literature of cyber aggression. Seriously. Cyber aggression, cyber bullying. I feel like we're moving out of cyber bullying and moving more into aggression because the intent and the intensity of what they're doing is bigger. And it's weird how we have to use different words to describe these kind of semantically similar things. But hey. More than 10 years ago, Thacker and Griffins provided a comprehensive picture of gaming trolls in their exploratory study describing behaviors that now are clearly classified as toxic interactions. Although some studies use trolling as a synonym for toxic behaviors, there is growing consensus that trolling refers to annoying yet relatively benign behaviors that may be unintentionally hurtful to others. I think now that we're getting into the vernacular of gaming, it's kind of like describing the difference between irritated, frustrated, angry, furious. Like, I think we're getting into the different levels of toxic behaviors. I think that's what they're saying between, like, trolling and What is this one? Trolling is the word, and then toxic behaviors. So I think there's levels of toxicity, there's levels of describing these behaviors, but I think that's with time and language in general to describe the intensity, frequency of an action. For example, you can be joyful, you can be happy, you can be elated, you know, different levels of happiness. Okay. Similar to trolling and cyberbullying, toxic behaviors are often fueled by anonymity and invisibility, suggesting some overlaps between the constructs and taxonomies of these phenomena. Interesting. It's easier to be a dick online, huh? It's easier to be a dick online when you have no, like, I mean, sure, people can find you, or whatever, if you use the same, like, Instagram name as your IGN and things like that. But in general, like, I really wonder how it'd be different if you had to use your actual name or identifying information online, and how that would change the way that people interact to present themselves. I hope. You know, because I think, like, in Korea, you actually have to have, like, a Korean phone number that attaches your ID to, and I wonder if that prevents or makes other people less or more toxic, because it's actually tied to your physical being. Versus, I can just make a new account, I can be whoever, you know what I mean? Okay, nevertheless, each has a distinct, well-established literature. However, a notable difference between cyberbullying and toxicity is that toxic interactions are typically temporal and situational, limited to the context of online multiplayer video gaming, while cyberbullying is repeated and can be performed through various online platforms and electronic devices. Interesting. So they're separating toxicity for games. I guess that you would consider cyber aggression and toxicity. Well, maybe they're saying toxic behaviors are cyber aggression-ish things in games specifically, while cyberbullying is just using... cyberbullying is just like aggressive or bullying behaviors through online contexts, maybe like Facebook or like YouTube or whatever, but toxic behaviors is literally just for gaming. These are just the vernaculars of it. Okay, while cyberbullying is repeated and can be formed through various platforms and electronics. So I guess you can be a cyberbully in video games, but if video games is the only place where you display aggressive tendencies, then you're just being toxic. Alright, similarly to cyberbullying, there is a large overlap between roles of toxicity, players exhibiting toxic behaviors frequently becoming targets, and vice versa, suggesting that toxicity can be a maladaptive emotional or behavioral response to highly stressful situations within the gaming context. Maladaptive or emotional response. I agree. Based on available literature, we have suggested a taxonomy and brief definition of toxic behaviors. According to Koo, toxic gaming behaviors are situated sequence of player emotions or actions at either the individual or the collective level that put teamwork at a disadvantage. I think the last part of that is really critical. That put teamwork at a disadvantage. Because I guess you can be toxic and be a jerk, but as long as it doesn't affect teamwork, then I guess you're in the clear. But I think by putting this definition of putting teamwork as at a disadvantage, I guess that's like the key factors of being toxic. Because I wonder, okay, the question then becomes, have you ever been toxic to a teammate and actually made them play better? Like, for example, you flame them, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely correct, I am playing like shit, and then they turn it around. And if they did turn it around, did you say something positive, or you still leave them like, oh, you still suck, you know? So, for those of you who try to use toxic behaviors as encouragement for your teammates to do better, the research shows or suggests that may not be the most motivating factor, because inherently toxic behaviors are detrimental and put the teamwork at a disadvantage. So I guess in that way, I guess it is true too. It's easier to encourage people to do better behaviors than just being shitty to them and calling out what they're doing and then being toxic to them. I really wonder what the statistics are. Like, how... I guess you could do a study of like how many times like you shit on somebody who were toxic and they actually changed or like improved their play. My hypothesis is probably not that often. Probably more often the opposite happens of that. I guess that's also true. I mean, think about like relationships or friendships too. Like, if you're trying to get your friend to do something for you and you just criticize them about how they're bad, but you never tell them how they're good, or like never tell them what you want, but instead you just tell them what you don't want and what they're screwing up and how you don't like them. I wonder how long that friendship lasts. Hypothesis, not very long. Or I wonder if you actually get what you want, and hypothesis is probably not. All right, some examples of toxic behaviors include griefing, feeding, and spamming. I can't wait to read this table. This table looks dope. These negative behaviors have a detrimental effect on individual achievement and team performance. Reduce game enjoyment, generate stress, frustration, and anger in players. Okay. Let's make sure that we pay attention to that table because from a different perspective, if you really wanted to use your powers for evil, I guess you could do all these behaviors. But hopefully, you're reading this study and like, I don't want to do these things. Okay, also, negatively impacting well-being and online social experiments. But here's the weird thing. I was talking to somebody and they're like, Ryan, do you think they'll ever fix people trolling or doing toxic things online in their games? And I was like, no. Game developers inherently have no motivation to purely fix and exclude all the toxic people in their game. Why? Because toxic people make you want to play more games. If you lose games, you probably want to win. Like, if you lose games and you have toxic people in your games, it probably motivates you, that's a tilt cue, to continue playing games. So why would game developers clean up their game to make everything nice? Because if it was, you probably wouldn't be as motivated to continue playing. So it's in the developer's best interest for you. It's in the developer's best interest to keep the game slightly toxic. Like, I'm sure there's a toxicity sweet spot where you can't have the game be too toxic where no one wants to play it, and you can't have the game too nice where nobody's like motivated to play it. I'm sure, like everything else, there's a sweet spot, not too much, not too little bit, but just right toxicity that causes people to continue playing even though they don't want to. Because if you think about free-to-play games, nothing's free. People keep the game sustainable by their attention, by buying things in the game, by buying cosmetics in the game, or whatever. So if you really think about free-to-play games, if it's free, the commodity is your attention and your care. So if that's true, why would they clean up the game to be less toxic? Because those things inherently make you play the game more. All right. Based on these characteristics, we define toxic behaviors as negative behaviors in online multiplayer game environments that can impair individual or team performance, game experience, and mental well-being of players. It's so funny. Like, I really wonder, there's another thing about it, like, okay, what would be the motivation for you as a player? I guess this is a question in chat too. Like, what would be your motivation if you're tilted to continue playing? Like, for example, if you're tilted and in tilt queue, are you thinking, I can't end on a loss? Huge motivating factor. I have to prove them wrong. It's not me, it's everyone else. Like, I'm really curious about what makes people continue to play, even if they're tilted. So, if you got answers, I want to know. Our Brers, oopsies. I wanted this. Okay. Brers et al. Emphasize that classifying a certain type of behavior as toxic may depend on the context and situation, suggesting that a negative act in one game might be an acceptable strategy in another. Speedrunning, which refers to the strategy of completing the game or specific game objectives as quickly as possible, often at the expense of team cooperation, prioritizing individual performance and personal gains over a collective consensual strategy. I guess, sure. Because I guess, like, in that sense, like, people are speedrunning the loss or FFing, and that's a speedrun of the game, right? But I guess that also means it's a contextual thing, which means what's the purpose of the toxicity? And how is it accepted or not in that game? Sure. In line with this notion, Canosa et al. Highlighted that a definition of toxicity can vary across games. Recognizing the importance of gaming context in perception of toxic behaviors, Coret proposed... Oh, that's not what I want. Road. Coret... Oh, that's good. I can actually click and it's going to show me the reference. Holy shit. Notability is OP. Okay. Good to know. Corwet proposed the term dark participation to encompass all types of deviant behaviors in the online sphere, identifying toxicity as an outcome of such behaviors that deteriorates other users' well-being. Dark behavior or dark participation. I like that. Dark participation. That's a nice way to putting being toxic. Dark participating. Because you gotta think about it too. Like, here's the thing. Research also shows that the #1 thing that tilts people are their teammates and what their teammates do, toxic behaviors, etc. Because I think everyone has the assumption that your teammates have the same goals, that they want to win, that they want to play well, that they're going to, you know, demonstrate their skills or work on something specific, like you are, right, when you play the game. At the same time, I think that is an unrealistic expectation in a solo queue environment, because although you assume that people want to win and have high team collaboration, that may not be the goal of everyone who's playing. For example, like, the goal could be, I'm tilted, I want other people to be tilted too. The goal could be, I was on the enemy team and that was really terrible, and now I want to try that thing that other people did to me and it's not very helpful. Or I want to make someone feel as bad as they made me feel. Or I just want to play with people and have friends and break the game or whatever, and that's fun to me. So it's unrealistic for you to expect or have the same expectations of others on your team that either you would have for yourself, or I guess the general expectation that they want to win. You know what I mean? And so perhaps if you went into the game with zero expectations of, like, I have literal bots on my team, and then you play the game, I wonder how that would affect your ability to stay engaged, your ability to focus on the process versus the outcome, and I wonder how that would affect your general enjoyment of the game. Alright. Based on these theoretical inquiries, we view toxic behaviors as a context-specific, i.e. online multiplayer games, subcategory of antisocial online behaviors. Yikes. Dark participation. Similar to how cyberbullying fits within the broader spectrum of cyber aggression. Wow. I never would have thought that being toxic was a antisocial online behavior. But then again, fair. It is what it is. Wow. Antisocial online behavior. Damn, what a label. Okay, regarding the context-specific nature of toxic behaviors, Cook et al. Explored the differences between trolling, broadly defined as negative communication directed towards others, in online games and social media. Okay. Trolling. Okay. According to the findings, trolling on social media platforms primarily involves personal, teasing, and verbal flaming insults. Dude, the thing I love about the world and culture progressing is I love the way that language changes over time, and I love the way that different pieces of language from different cultures get integrated into common language, like flame. Love it. Teasing, that's such an old term, but like flame, you know, like, I think that's so funny. And it's the reason I think it also is really funny is because your brain is so dictated by the language you use. And something that I also realized is not everyone understands the definition of the term, and some people use the term use the term incorrectly, or don't understand the term fully, but they still want to use it. I do that all the time too, but I just think it's funny. Language is funny. Okay. Teasing, trolling versus personal. But see, here's the thing, like, couldn't flaming be personal? I don't know. Insults, while trolling in games predominantly manifests in behaviors. Okay. Trolling, behaviors. Flaming, verbal. Personal attacks, teasing. I don't know if teasing is it. I don't know. But anyway. Participants perceive online game environments as a more toxic and less controlled space than social media spheres in this study. I would agree with that. There's no moderators much in gaming unless you get reported, you know, versus like you can report someone on Twitter or this and that. However, Cook et al. Emphasized that both games and social media platforms vary largely in community rules and norms. Research suggests that esports and highly competitive games, such as multiplayer online battle arenas, MOBAs, and first and third person shooters, FPS, TPS games, are more likely to foster in-group conflicts and aggression due to the competitive nature increasing the occurrence of toxic interactions between players. Because although I mean, that's so funny. Studies have shown that FPSs and MOBAs actually are more toxic than any other game. That's you take that shit to the bank. Highly competitive games. That's so funny. Okay, so the thing I'm thinking about is like, how cooperative are these games? And I wonder if cooperative games like Overcooked, you would still, I don't know. I wonder too if you actually, yeah, I guess the answer would be yes, because you know these people. It's not anonymous, but I think it's funny. They said foster in-group conflicts and aggression due to competitive nature. Fair. Because I think that even though they're competitive nature, they still haven't defined how they want to be cooperative in how they be competitive, or what competitive means to them, or what winning means to them. Although the game defines it as Nexus Go Boom, like what is winning for you as you play the game. Alright. However, engagement in toxic behaviors can be influenced by individual, social, and situational factors. Individual, social, and situational factors. That's true. I think so. Because, like, you're not always toxic, but maybe there's something that causes you to be toxic. Maybe you're tired. Maybe someone griefs you, you know? So that's, like, a situational, because you're not always this way, but maybe you get there, you know? And it could be individual. It could be a social. If everyone's doing it, I'm gonna do it too. I like that. That's a social situation, individual factors. Absolutely. All right, the psychological background of toxic behaviors. Since the late 2010s, 2010s, bros, damn. The underlying motives and psychological correlates of personal involvement in toxic behaviors have been intensely researched. Despite the novelty of this research field, several empirical studies have accumulated on the antecedents and consequences of toxicity, contributing to a better understanding of this phenomenon. I bet you're going to say, the more toxic, the less fun. That's just my hypothesis, but we'll read on. Research indicated that women younger... What? That's an interesting sentence. Okay, research indicated that women younger, beginner, and ethical minority players are more likely to become targets of toxic behaviors. Okay, that makes sense. All the commas kind of made it interesting. Dude, I work with a couple of women teams. Bro, the things that they tell me about how they train and like what happens to them as soon as they speak on the mic and how they get shit on. Bro, what the fuck? Like, how are you supposed to play or learn or do all that kind of stuff, you know? Yo, what's good, Ultralisk? I see you lurking, baby. More frequent toxic encounters were associated with symptoms of depression and anxiety, psychological stress, rumination, suicidal thoughts, and gaming disorder. Whoa. Okay. depression, anxiety, psychological distress, rumination, suicidal thoughts, and gaming disorder. Targets of toxic... Okay, wait. Frequent toxic... Okay, so if this happens to you, this happens. Okay. Targets of toxic behaviors were reported decreasing self-efficacy and in-game social capital, relatedness, and higher perceived loneliness. Wow. So, you know what this makes me realize is that, like, words really do matter. Words matter. Words matter. How those words affect you matter. And how you let those words affect you really, really matter too. More frequent toxic... So when people say words don't matter, or like, oh, just talking, bro, it matters. And I think the dumb thing is like, oh, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, they hurt, bro. I'm sorry. Like, words hurt because I know words hurt, because even if you say, oh, that person's like, oh, words don't hurt you, and then you say something like off, out of pocket, or like super messed up, and like, oh, why would you say that? It's like, okay, so words hurt, don't they? Words hurt everyone. Like, yes, to a certain extent, you can practice not letting the words hurt you. At the same time, like, they hurt. Everyone gets hurt by words, bro. Let's be real. Let's be real. More frequent toxic behaviors were associated with reduced team performance over the course of the game. I think this is really important too, because even think about, like, if you play organized games, if you play in a team, if you troll your teammate, that's gonna not be great. Or here's the other thing: if you perceive your teammate as trolling you, that's probably gonna affect your relationship with them too, on purpose or not, and it can be perceptual or actual. And increased withdrawal from online games, so you stop playing. Oh, that's so shit though, if you think about it, right? Like, it's not just the actual trolling, but if you perceive to be trolled, then that's probably going to hurt relationship. So it's even more so, I think, in online games, it's important to make sure that you check the behaviors and check the reception of the words between each other, because if it's not received or given well, the feedback, the communication, whatever, it's going to hurt relationship. And if it hurts relationship, it's going to hurt your performance. Similar to the pattern observed in cyberbullying, targets of toxic behaviors often become toxic players and vice versa. So what you're saying here, so the research shows that toxicity is contagious. Hurt people. And I guess the gaming sphere online is no different. It's just a different context. It's just a third space, or a different space where you can become toxic or spread it. So I think it's more conscious of what do you do with it. Players exhibiting toxic behaviors are commonly experienced players with high ranks and levels in the game. Moreover, male gender, impulsivity, and personality traits such as psychopathy, Machiavellianism, sadism, hostile sexism, and social dominance orientation were associated with sexual harassment in online multiplayer games. So, what this is saying is that if you're toxic in video games, that's not... there may be other underlying things kind of going on with and for you. So, if you're also... Okay, that means on the flip side, if you are on the receiving end of toxicity, I'm not saying that this is going to fix it, but something else to realize is that it may not be you, it may be them, and they're just using you as a receptacle for their poor personality traits, poor self-regulation, poor beliefs in themselves, or at least understanding that, oh, they have something else going on more than the game, and it's not just me. So I think that's, and the reason I'm saying this is because maybe if you understand that, it will be easier for you to depersonalize the toxicity. It may help you contextualize the toxicity and realize that it's not me. It's not a me thing. It's a them thing. And if it's a them thing, do I need to take on, believe, listen to the things that they're saying? Answer, probably not. Sexual harassment. God damn. Alright, Cook and those people identified motives such as retaliation, personal enjoyment, and thrill-seeking behind toxic behaviors. Yeah, that's interesting. I really wonder what the motivation is when people get toxic. You know what I mean? Additionally, Andrew Boxer, Miller, and Vamplu found that players may engage in toxic behaviors to gain an advantage over others, demonstrating their skill and feel powerful. All right, so now we're getting into, like, okay, gain the advantage of others. So the question is that banter? Is that, like, mental warfare? It really depends on the purpose and why someone is being toxic, the intentionality of the toxicity, and I guess a level of consciousness of the toxicity. And I guess the other thing I'm thinking about is when people are being toxic, or when you're being toxic, how intentional are you in that behavior? What's the purpose of it for you? Like, are you trying to flex on them? Are you trying to get in their head? Are you just trying to vent your frustration? Are you trying to find blame? Are you trying to cope? Like, what is your motivations of becoming toxic? Or being toxic? Because, I mean, from a different perspective, if you're being intentionally toxic, I can't really fault you. But if you're just being really impulsive and you're being toxic on accident, or you just happen to be toxic, then maybe there's something we can do about it. Interestingly, McLean found that toxic interactions are more commonly among teammates compared to opponents. Absolutely. Absolutely. Particularly in matches without a cooperative teammate in the gameplay compared to the condition when a supportive teammate is present. Oh, okay. What I'm reading from this, right? If this is true. Particularly in matches without a cooperative teammate in the gameplay compared to the condition when a supportive teammate is present. So, what this means to me is that even though toxicity is contagious, if we just have one supportive teammate or a couple of supportive teammates, perhaps it's easier to contain and it's able to spread less because of the energy in the team, which is really interesting. So I wonder what the ratio of, like, toxic people to, like, non-toxic people do you need? And then how long will the waves wear down the shore? For example, even if you do have, like, one toxic person and 4 other non-toxic people, I really wonder how long the 4 people can contain the toxicity before it slowly starts reaching out to them, or, like, wearing them down, you know what I mean? Because, bro, it wears on you. Being around toxic people, or trying to redirect the behavior, like, come on, man, don't worry about it. Oh my god, it's so bullshit. I can't believe this. Everyone sucks. Don't worry about it, man. Move on. Yeah, but, you know, if they only just did their jobs, we'd be so much more ahead. I get it, man. Just move on. You know, like, how long do you think it will take? A season? A split? A game? A week? Like, how long does it take for the toxicity to seep in? You know what I mean? Alright, authors suggest that more frequent communication interactions between teammates than opponents, anonymity, and the lack of group identity in quick matches could explain the higher occurrence of conflicts within the team. Yeah. The anonymity. Frequent communication interaction with teammates than opponents, anonymity, lack of group identity in quick matches could explain higher occurrences of conflicts within the team. Yes, I think this is they're referring to, like, a solo queue environment. But even when I'm thinking about, like, collegiate, amateur, or professional, I think the biggest thing is this. If there is no group identity, if there's no common goal, or, like, common way that we want to achieve it, or not a common language, not a common culture, because of this, and because if we don't know each other, there's anonymity. I only know this guy, he comes to scrims and he bounces, or I see him and then he bounces, but I don't know him as a person, then yeah, the toxicity or the chances of becoming more toxic increases because there's not relationship. And maybe that's perhaps then, from that perspective, is relationship the mediating factor in a team that decreases potential toxicity within it? My answer as a psychologist is probably. Like, it's harder to be a dick to someone that you know because that's your friend, right? But here's the other interesting thing though. I've also seen it on the other end where people are too close as friends, and because they're so close as friends, they don't want to ruin the vibe and tell each other what's wrong, because if I tell you what's wrong, then we actually have a problem and we have to talk about it, versus, okay, well, that's just Jason, how Jason behaves, and we just kind of like deal with it, you know? So I do think there's also a sweet spot between anonymity or lack of relationship and then having too much relationship where it becomes hard to talk. If I don't have any relationship with you, who are you? Why do I care? You're not going to change. Versus, I know you. I care about you so much. I don't want to offend you that I don't say anything that prevents communication. So there must be some sweet spot where I know you just enough, or I know you and I feel comfortable just enough where I'm able to tell you what I need, what I like, what I don't like, what I need you to stop, and you're actually able to listen and tell me the same thing. So sometimes, all the time, no relationship, bad. At the same time, sometimes too much relationship, bad. There's like a sweet spot of relationship, for sure. Bears et al. Explain the dynamics of toxic behaviors through the mechanisms of moral disengagement and toxic online and online disinhibition. Moral disengagement, that is the definition, refers to the cognitive process of rationalizing engagements in morally questionable acts to avoid negative self-evaluation. Interesting. So I wonder if in toxicity there is a piece of ego protection. Because if it is about negative self-evaluation, I'm not bad, they're bad. Or I would have won if they weren't so terrible, right? Now we're talking about ego protection. I'm flaming you because you're griefing me. You're terrible versus I'm playing bad and this person's also playing bad. You know, so I wonder if there is that ego protection that causes, or the anxiety that if I lose, what does this mean? You're holding me back. You know what I mean? An example of this within the video game context would be the opponent cheats, so why don't I cheat too? Yeah, I mean, if everyone's cheating, is it cheating? Just like if everyone is super, is anyone super? I feel that. Okay, toxic disinhibition. That's a definition. A hostile manifestation of online disinhibition effect posits that individuals feel less constrained to exhibit certain behaviors in online settings compared to offline circumstances due to the anonymity. Oh my god, it's like anonymity. Anonymity. Oh my god. I got this. Anonymity. Or is it anonymity? And see an enemy. You know what I mean? The being anonymous online. Anonymity. Pass. And invisibility. Okay, that's why, if it's due to this sea anemone. Oh my god, I can't say that word. Anonymity. Anonymity? 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 Oh my god. I literally cannot say that word right now. I wonder, okay, from this sentence though, this is why I always encourage, if you're on a team, or you're playing with your friends or whatever, in a more competitive environment, I always suggest turning on your cameras during a VOD review, pre-game, post-game, to build communion, to build relationship, to bring culture, to increase communication, because it's really hard to tell someone to their face that they're dog shit if you see them. But if you don't see their face and their reactions or how they're receiving the information, you can give them really hard critical feedback and not really care. So if you want to increase your team's relationship, if you want to decrease team toxicity or whatever, turn your cameras on. Anonymity. That's it. Clip it. Anonymity. I did it. Okay. In the context of video games, perceived distance from other players and the justification of hostility towards others contribute to the perception that consequences of hostile actions in online games are not so harmful. Here's the other thing too. How often do you remember the flame or the terrible game or whatever? You probably are really upset and you go to sleep the next day, you forget about everything. So you really just like caused really big harm, or you like were a really big jerk and you said really mean things, and then you forgot the context of the game and that person or that player. It's crazy. But that makes sense. The distance, because you don't see them, that justifies that they're not a real person, they're not a real thing. You can say and do whatever you want to them. It's not correct, but I can understand it. That's not that bad. I didn't do anything bad. That was not mean. Okay. This mechanism can also attribute to the normalization of toxic behaviors in the game community. Yes. Everybody does it. It doesn't matter. I don't know that person. I guess that's kind of like also saying that instead of saying that they're people, you refer to them as roaches or rodents or vermin or whatever. You dehumanize somebody so you think it's okay. Fine. Okay, perception of toxicity in the gamer community, ongoing debates, and future directions. Okay, overall demographics, gender distribution, age-specific minority status, and psychological characteristics of those involved in toxic behaviors show considerable similarities to those described in relation to cyberbullying. However, an important difference is that toxic encounters have become a common experience among gamers and are often viewed as a normal part of the online gaming culture. Yes. Yes. And here's the other thing too, like being toxic on Twitch or being toxic online often gives you more hits, often gives you more people's eyes and attention. So you're also have like reinforcers, or there is secondary gain to being toxic. I mean, it makes people fun to watch. It's funny when people crash out. It's funny when people like call other people whatevers, and you're watching it, and then because you see people doing it, you think that's normal, and then you do it yourself, when in actuality it doesn't have to be that way. But it makes sense of why it's there. Okay, according to the report by the Anti-Defamation League on representative samples of U.S. gamers aged 10 to 45 years, 76% of adults reported being harassed in online multiplayer games in 2023. That's like more than half. That's like more than like 3/4 of the time. That's like 3 out of 4 games. Damn. I know math too. Sheesh. 3 out of 4 games you experience toxicity. That means when you don't experience toxicity, I wonder if you win that game, or if that game is much more exciting, or I'm wondering if in that 4th game you didn't experience, but you were the one doing it. Which means that would be like 100% of the time there's toxicity, you know what I mean? Unlucky. That's a good joke. Or I hope it's a joke, but if not, that's a shitty stat. Or very unlucky stat. Okay, although the proportion of affected adults in these incidents has decreased by 10%. Hey, so that means people were more toxic? I guess maybe people were more toxic when they're locked in their house for COVID and had nothing else to do, and they were more likely to instill their personal sense of well-being in the game versus, you know, going outside because that's all they could do. Fair. So that's good. That's my guess. The involvement of adolescents has substantially increased. Oh yeah. Okay, so we win some, we lose some, right? Like adults, maybe they're more well regulated. I'm guessing they're 18. But adolescents, yikes. The children are our future. Specifically, 3 in 4 adolescents aged between 10 to 17 years experience harassment from other players in online multiplayer games in 2023. Dang, that sucks. It's kind of rough to be a kid right now. It's kind of rough. Not gonna lie, kind of rough. It's 10 to 17. Okay, that's another thing I'm thinking about. Like, what does toxicity and online bullying and all this stuff do to a 10 to 17-year-old brain who are processing words for the first time and emotions for the first time, or like, you know, I mean, not for the first time, but are very inexperienced in it. Because I mean, imagine when you're 17 or whatever, like your brain fully cooks when you're 25. So everything feels really like vivid and like strong and like, I don't know, big when you're that young, because it's like the first time you've ever experienced these things. So I wonder what that does to your brain, and do you just normalize it, and because of that, that's just like how your mindset's set. Makes sense. Okay, most gamers perceive toxic behaviors as a severe problem. Thank you. Particularly those frequently becoming targets of such acts. And 62% believe the gaming industry should take action to make online video game a safer space. Yes, I agree with that. But again, as I talked about before, I don't think that they have any motivation to make it a safer space. Like, why? Cleaning up the solo queue would only decrease players if the solo queue didn't exist, you know? Or the loser queue didn't exist, which it does. And so does Elo Hell. But Elo Hell is a perceptual place. Remember that. Video game developer companies such as Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, and Epic Games have made efforts to combat toxic behaviors by establishing the Fair Play Alliance, a global collaboration aimed at creating safe and inclusive online gaming environments. A recent report by Riot Games indicates that only 5% of gamers engage in toxic behaviors repeatedly, allegedly, bro. What? 5%? Did they mean 95? 5%, Riot? Really? I would love to see the data. There's... Okay, wait. Maybe the word here is repeatedly. Because I wonder if Riot also checks the accounts that they banned and then the new account that's from the same IP, you know? Repeatedly. Suggesting that most players seek enjoyment and socialization rather than hostility in online multiplayer spaces. I hope so. I really hope so. It really depends on what people are playing for, honestly. And sometimes here, this is what I also learned too. Sometimes trolls, they just want to be your friend, man. They just want to stay in the game longer, because if they really didn't want to play with you, they would have FF'd in 15. But they want to spend time with you. They want to hang out with you so bad, you know, that they pick Teemo. And they just want to like play jungle Teemo with you all the time, or you know, they pick Jet and run it down because they just want to be, you know, with you for 13 rounds. Like, that's just what people want to do. So, you know, at the end of the day, another perspective is trolls are just lonely and they're just looking for social connection. They just want to feel something, you know, feel something with you. That's the reframe. Video games providing clear guidance on behavioral expectations for players with different values can help foster a safe and more inclusive gaming environment that could attract more players, which is also beneficial for the gaming industry. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, toxicity brings people in, you know? Toxicity is great to watch. And it's so interesting. Like, okay, have you ever watched like a Call of Duty game when they stand up and just fucking yell at each other afterwards, you know, versus like a League of Legends game where there's like shake hands all nicely? What do you want to see? Do you want to see Scump yell at somebody, or do you want to see Double Lift just say like, oh, everyone's trash online, or do you want to see him like yell it in someone's face? My guess, you probably want to see that like in someone's face. I'm like, oh, that's so wild, that's crazy, why would they do, you know? And then think of the hits and the clicks versus like good game. Oh my god. So from that perspective, are we the problem? Are we, the viewer, the problem? Like, that's what we want to see? Is the call coming from inside the house? Perhaps. I'm just here asking the questions, man. Okay, recent studies suggest that targeting social norms in the gaming community could help reduce toxic interactions. Dude, I wish I had the one dash in my name. These people reviewed strategies including the cultivation of pro-social norms by influential players, increasing activism among bystanders, and weakening norms and common beliefs that justify the presence of toxicity. I like that. These other guys also emphasize that decreasing the common acceptance and legitimacy of toxic behaviors among players is crucial, for effective prevention and intervention. Yeah, at the same time, what are you gonna do? Hit him? Bad. This person got banned for toxic behavior. I can, maybe, but I mean, what's the severity and where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? That's another thing. Like, how would you divide that up? And then here's the other thing. Do you think that when players or organizations get busted for like toxic behaviors, and they write the apology letter, do you think they actually wrote it, or do you think like ChatGPT/PR wrote it? You know what I mean? I don't know, because there's a difference between admitting like I did this wrong and then showing the change of like I'm trying not to be toxic. Those are two very different things. All right. Adaptive strategies against toxic behaviors include ignoring, muting, and reporting disruptive players. I mean, what else? What else could you do? I mean, there's education and stuff like that, and I guess you could do the other, like this is there's a punishment, but I guess you could also do rewards. That's why they have like honors and things like that. Like if you're really like you were friendly or whatever. But maybe if you gave people better motivations, I don't know, skins and stuff, to like, oh, at the end of this you get amazing things for being a nice person or being positive, you know? But at the end of the season, if you do have high honor, what do you get? One capsule and like what, blue essence? Or like what do you get in Valorant? What do you get? Like high five? I don't know. Extra RR? Not. You know, like there's not motivation at the same time or rewards for good behaviors versus the punishment for bad ones, you know? Shrug. All right, despite the growing body of research on toxic behaviors, more studies are needed on the individual differences among players in terms of cultural background and socialization norms to gain a comprehensive understanding of factors predisposing players to toxicity. All right, so now they want to understand like what makes someone toxic, or like is there predisposing conditions that make someone more vulnerable to be toxic? Moreover, the explanation of possible mediating or moderating factors that can alter the effects of toxic interactions of players' mental health could also contribute to the present knowledge of this phenomenon. Okay, another thought that I'm having too, though, is like if they actually had esports in like high school, elementary school, middle school, where they actually got to teach, hey, this is good esportsmanship, or this is what it means to be a player, or how to be kind online, or how to focus on these things. Like, you know how traditional sport athletes have like little league baseball and like pee-wee football and like these smaller, like, I want to say children based, but like more elementary, like you teach kids how to be coached, how to be a good sport, how to lose, how to win, like all these things as a child. But if you think about like esports, you're just like, okay, go play. Or like you go to your room and you play by yourself. Maybe you have a duo that you play with, you know what I mean? But like there's nowhere that kids are taught good esportsmanship, how to be a good winner, how to be a good loser, like all these things, how to learn in the game, how to climb in the game, how to behave online. Like there's no esportsmanship classes, or like even social media literacy or online literacy for children, you know? And I think I'm so glad that I grew up when I grew up, when there was not so much. I think Facebook was just coming up, you know, like there wasn't things that I could post in high school, and my Facebook got scrubbed. It's no longer, like they took it from me. But there's nothing that can live online from my childhood when I was stupid and did really dumb things and may have said out of pocket things that can haunt me now as an adult, you know? But now kids are having Instagram accounts when they're like in 7th grade or 9th grade, and like that stuff lives forever. You know what I mean? So shout out if you be conscious of what you post, and if you get older, scrub that shit. Pro tip. Bro, my dog is like freaking out. He's like dreaming really hard. Are you chasing something, buddy? Are you chasing something? Alright. I'm chasing this knowledge, baby. Okay. Prevention and intervention programs are necessary to reduce toxicity and foster mental health in players affected by adverse psychological consequences of involvement in toxic interactions. I think in general, though, I think it's really important for people to learn how to manage what people say, how to understand and how to compartmentalize that this is not a me thing. This could be somebody else. You know, what is the what did it say? Mental health martial arts, where you can defend yourself. I guess that's defense against the dark arts, right? They call this what do they call this? They called it oh, wait, no. They called it, what do they call it? Dark something. I have to find it. I love that word. That's why it was dark participation. Whoops. All right. So what is the defense against the dark participation? Mental skills that you need. Yo, what's good, baby? What's good, Dr. Jibs? Thanks for the follow. Hey, by the way, Dr. Jibs, speaking of which, we're going to have another one, First Mental Mondays. So in 2 weeks, I believe it's next week, Monday, we'll be doing it again with the Voltaire group. So we'll run it back. So I'm excited to be there. I believe that is, let me double check. I believe that is, yeah, next week, Monday. Next week, Monday from 2 to 5 p.m. PST, I'll be there. Hell yeah. Me too, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, I wonder, like, I think with that, it's really learning how to defend yourself against the dark participation of what people say. Do you believe them? Why do you want to believe them? Is this true? It's not true. All these kinds of things. Because it's really interesting how if, I guess, you hear the lie more frequently, or if you're on the other end of the toxicity more frequently, it's more easy for you to believe it. But spoiler alert, it's all bullshit. All right, educating youth in online cooperating dynamics and pro-social communication could enhance social sensitivity, empathy, and acquisition of behavioral norms that are beneficial for the community. Overall, online multiplayer game environments have become fertile ground for cyber aggression in recent years. The pervasiveness of toxic behaviors and associated mental health concerns highlight the importance of addressing interpersonal hostility within the gaming community, which predominantly comprises adolescents and young adults. Reducing toxicity could greatly enhance the safety of online members of online multiplayer game environments, improve gaming experience, and support young players' well-being. Yeah. That session generally helped me so much, dude. Made me realize why I tilt, and I've been able to play much longer without getting tilted. Yo, that's sick feedback, man. Right? Isn't it really interesting when you talk about tilt? Everyone experiences it, but like no one's really stopped to think about like why I tilt, when I tilt, and it's or they villainize it like, oh, I'm never supposed to do it. Where it's like, no, bro, everyone tilts. Everyone's got limits. You're human. You're tired. Like you're gonna tilt. And then if you think about it differently, and if you have a different perspective of it, you can actually manage it more better, you know, or not let it get to you, or like understand and be aware of when it's happening to you, and then do something different. Because when you really think about it, it's still a skill, like being able to manage your tilt, being able to manage your impulsivity, manage your emotions, your stress. Like these are all skills. And if you can do it in game, bro, you can do it in life, which is the coolest part, because game is life and life is game. You know what I mean? Dude, this is really sick too. I love how this article really broke down like the different flavors of like toxic behaviors: flaming, harassment, sexual harassment, yikes, trash talking, hate speech, inappropriate username, oh my god, griefing, assisting the enemy, feeding, spamming, Jesus Christ, cheating, smurfing, boosting. Is this toxic? Is boosting toxic? I guess so, huh? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely, man. Also, W shirts. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Yes, this shirt, I just did an Aloha shirt exchange with my dad. My wardrobe for Aloha shirts is brought to you by my father. I'm into the classics, you know? So, by the way, a moment of cultural sensitivity. This is not a Hawaiian shirt, okay? Not a Hawaiian shirt. This is Aloha shirt, okay? And that's why, you know, at home when they say, okay, wear Aloha attire, you can wear Aloha shirts. So they're not Hawaiian shirts. They're Aloha shirts, all right? So if you want to show off to your friends, you tell them, dude, that's a nice Aloha shirt. And be like, dude, what are you talking about? And you'd be like, that's what they're called on the island, okay? Aloha shirts. And then we had, the funny thing about Aloha shirts too, in high school, we started doing Aloha Friday, and we'd all, as high schoolers, like imagine like children wearing Aloha shirts like that business people wear on Fridays just for like funsies. Yeah. False reporting, AFK, away from viewer. Yeah, I don't think boosting is toxic. Is boosting toxic? I don't think it's a toxic behavior. Because, okay, now that we're here on boosting, that's one mindset that I don't understand. Okay, like, I understand. If you're a booster, baby, go get your bag. Get your bag, baby. But, like, if you're purchasing the boost, I don't get it. Okay, and here, walk me through this. Walk me through this, right? So, you think, perhaps, paying to get boosted is weird? I mean, okay, I agree, but let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about why it's weird, okay? Let's go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so, if I'm gonna pay for boosting, right? Okay, if I'm gonna get into the mindset of I want to get boosted, or like, it must start with I think I don't belong here, right? Like, I inherently must think that it's not me, it's everyone else that's holding me back. This is not my true rank, and if I only had someone of my similar skill, I would climb, right? Okay. And I'm assuming this is like, you're playing with your booster. This is not like you assigning your account to a booster, which is even more weird, but you're playing with somebody, as is per this definition, right? Playing or asking highly skilled gamers to increase the rank and skills of less experienced players using custom accounts in their gameplay, using the customer's accounts in the gameplay, right? So, I'm assuming that if I pay for it, okay, this person in whom I believe is a similar rank is going to help me, and we play together and it works. Okay, I rank up, I hit whatever rank I want, and then I don't play with my booster, and then inevitably, because I don't have the skills, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the mechanics to maintain this rank, because that's, at the end of the game, it's a it is a skill-based game, then inevitably I fall. I D-rank, and then what I think, oh, it's everybody else again? What's the next thought? Like, oh, I got to where I was. Why can't you maintain this spot? It's still not me, it's everybody else. And then, here's the crazy part, or here the most interesting part, sorry, not crazy, the most bonkers part is then I will then buy a boost again to get back up to here, just to fall back down. If I'm the booster, I would think, well, first of all, I could think two things. Awesome, I found the whale that's gonna, like, pay me money. But at the same time, like, if you're boosting and you spent, like, a week getting this person up to that rank and they just throw it away in, like, 3 hours, would you be slightly pissed? Like, bro, what are you doing? I, like, did all the hard work and now you're back in freaking iron? Like, what? We spent a week together, bro. What are you doing? But anyway, like, that's what I would be thinking. Like, what is the mindset of a boostee? You know what I mean? Like, and then my second thought is the product more important than the process to that person? The product being the rank and the achievement of hitting that rank or whatever, versus the product, versus the process of you being able to learn and understand how to get to that rank consistently, you know? And I feel like more often than not, people overvalue the product versus the process. And I feel like because of that, we're devaluing it because we don't know how hard the process is to achieve or make that product. Ideally, they could be trying to learn from the boosters. I mean, ideally, yeah, I would agree with you, Dr. Jeebus. Or is it Jebs or Jibbis? Jibbis? Jeeps. But the thing is, like, on the other end, do boosters... I mean, I know some boosters actually do try to teach, and Jeebus. Longy, got you. Like, I do agree that some boosters try to help teach their boostie how to play the game and stuff like that. But then we're getting to the area of coaching. You know what I mean? Because I think if you are playing with your coachee, your client, then that'd be something different, right? But oftentimes you just pay the booster to help you rank up. But they could also have coaches pay for that. Yeah, exactly. So what's the difference between a coach and a boost, right? I'm thinking the only difference is the coach actually tells you the insights of how to get better and what to think about and what to look for and the cues and behaviors and stuff like that, versus a booster's like, okay, we're just gonna play and I'm gonna carry you. That's what I'm assuming. And that's the major difference. One carries and can maybe would be nice. That'd be extra bonus because you're not paying them for the lessons. But I feel like the coach would actually help you understand how to get there. So again, so if I'm going to compare product to process, I think the coach is teaching the process, whereas the booster focuses on the product, you know? But, I mean, this article is really interesting, I think. I think it's really nice that this article has really defined all the ways to be toxic, for sure. Oh, unlucky. You know, I think that, where is this? No. I want to... Yeah. So I think it's really interesting, and I like this foundational article of like, oh no, there's actual definition of what you're doing here. It goes, I know, right? Oh, but I wish, bro. And the thing that I hate is like, I wish I had money for all these payments and bots. I wish I could boost myself. Nah. I take pride in knowing that the no bots needed, you know. But I really like this because I can use this article as proof or examples of, oh no, this is like the studies that these are already had to define these terms. I'm already the best viewer. You don't need them, Lamau. Absolutely. No doubt there. Absolutely. But yeah, it's really interesting. To me, I think another really interesting concept is the normalcy and the acceptance that, oh, when we play games, it's just supposed to be like this. Like, okay, at the same time, does it need to be? Could it be different? Do you want to be different? Do we want to be different? You know, and the other really interesting thing is, okay, after this, I'm really interested in like the motivation for someone to be toxic, or like what happens to someone that causes them to be toxic. My hypothesis, it is a cognitive fatigue thing. I think when people are toxic, they're probably tired. I think it could be a personality thing. Like this article mentions that there's personality differences. I think it could also be missing goals and expectations thing, you know, because oftentimes it's that we'd be toxic to our teammates and stuff like that. But I guess from this article, the thing that I'm curious for you is what makes you toxic? Who are you toxic at? And how can you be more conscious or aware of when it's happening and how it affects you? Because the big thing from this article too is that it highlights that hurt people hurt people. Toxicity breeds more toxicity. If you're in a group with someone that is toxic but has someone else that isn't toxic, it prevents the toxicity from spreading ish. You know, how long does it take? I don't know, but it prevents it from immediately spreading to the team. So there's different ways to prevent it. But at the same time, what's your take on it? Alright, well, yo, this has been so fun. I haven't been streaming in a while, so it's nice to come back and have a nice little conversation, especially with you, Dr. Jeebs. Was good fun. My goal is to come back next Friday, same time. I'm either going to do a Ryan Rants, where I just pick about something and just rant about it for a little bit, or have a good conversation with y'all, or maybe I'm gonna pick another article to read, because I have a butt ton of articles that I've been just searching through that I haven't been able to get through because my private practice is kind of picking up, so still finding time to do it because it's really good fun. I normally try to ignore toxic people, but sometimes they can get to me and I flame them back. Okay, here's the thing with flame though. Next Friday I'll be here, yes. But more certainly, yo, Finite Anxiety, thanks for the follow, baby. But more importantly, next week Monday, 2 to 6, or 2 to 5 or whatever, I'll be in the Voltaic Discord. So if you guys are a FPS player or you're training your clique and you're part of that community, I'll be jumping in that Discord to do another AMA. Really stoked about it. I have to think about what I want to rant for 15 minutes before y'all filter in, before I start taking questions. And then, my gosh, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, Flame. The thing with Flame though, okay, here's the thing. This is a hot take. If you're gonna flame me, bro, do some, like, creative flame. Like, I've been called dog shit, dog water, like, you know, all the you're lames or whatever, your mom sucks. Like, no. If you're gonna flame me, hit me with something I've never seen before. Hit me with some intellectual shit that I gotta think about, or like, you know, that you just implanted in my head, and then 2 days later it goes like, I'm better than that. Like, that's the kind of flame that I want. Okay, I don't want this like run of the mill, you suck, whatever. Give me some good stuff. Give me some puns. Give me some like Inception shit. Like, that's the flame that I want. Okay, that's it. Is that too much to ask? Honestly, like, oh my god, you suck. Tell me something I don't know, bro. Oh my god, you're a griefer. I'm doing it right now, I know. Tell me something else, bro. Tell me something else. You're just like your father. He's a nice man. Literal PJ mask enjoying daughter feet. Feet dangler. What? What is that? Do I have to Google this? Am I going to be afraid of what I find when I control C, control P, and something else? What is this? Yup. Or something. They're like, yeah, give me something good. That's all I'm saying. Like, give me something creative. Give me something that like makes me think about it. Let me that, you know, like you say it, and then like 3 seconds later, I'm like, what? That's good flame, baby. That's good flame. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is that too much to ask? All right. Well, I'm gonna head to the gym because if not, I'm not gonna go. So shout out, Dr. Jeeps. Thanks for hanging out, baby. And also, Finite Anxiety. Love the name. Hope that's not true. Maybe it is. Maybe Finite Anxiety is better than Infinite Anxiety. You're in the right place, man. Thanks for the follow. So again, tomorrow I will be back, or my goal will be to be back again at 6 p.m. PST to do another Reading with Ryan or Ryan Rants. And then if you're a part of the Voltaic community, I'll see you next week, Monday, the 1st at 2 o'clock p.m. PST to do another AMA where you can ask me whatever you want. Lamau, it has its days. Have a good gym session, my dude. Thank you so much for the advice. You've helped me enjoy gaming again. Yo, that's what it's all about, man. Games are for fun. Hope to catch you for another stream. Absolutely. Come back on Friday, friends. All right, guys. Take it easy. Pieces. Love ya. Mwah! Oh, also, if you want more resources, you want to check out what I do, or check out my website, psychsensei.com. And also, if you want to work with me personally, to get better at gaming, work at your mental, tilt less, think about how to schedule your games, or how to climb, all these kinds of things. Yo, fill out a free consultation form on my website, psychsensei.com, and you and I can sit down, talk stories, and hopefully put a plan together for you, and then see if you want to work together a little more long term. And also, while you're there, there's resources, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my TikTok, my YouTube, my Discord, all of it. Shoot me a message, or hit me up, and we can hang out. All right, friends, take it easy. Please be safe. Love ya. Mwah! Bye! And remember, strong mental wins. Peace!